So welcome back to part two of Secrets of the Obvious, episode 28. Next question. Hi, Lou. How do we get rid of the suffering in the world? So now I and we. So you're now pulling me into this. You want to get rid of the suffering in the world. We don't get rid of suffering. And we should definitely not try and get rid of suffering. How many institutions, how many spiritual people have tried to get rid of suffering? Where's it got us? Nowhere. What we need to do, especially if you're on the non-dual path, the Course in Miracles, Advaita Vedanta, Taoism, is try and understand what suffering is. Try and understand suffering better. What appears to suffer? You know, imagine, imagine you're a virologist in a laboratory studying a new type of parasite or virus. Yeah, studying a parasite. We investigate its origins. We try and observe, how does it feed? How does it breed? How does it grow? Where did it come from? What is it for? What does it consume? The virologist is not going to touch the parasite. It's not going to ingest it because it's going to infect her. She watches it carefully. She studies it over a period of time. She tries to understand its nature. What is it aimed at? What is it for? What's it trying to consume? What's it trying to devour? What's it trying to destroy? Her intention is not to change the virus or the parasite. Her intention is only to understand it so she can make sure that she doesn't get infected and she can teach others how not to be infected by this horrible parasite or virus. Think about it that way. You're going to watch those thoughts, watch what suffers, what thinks is suffering, what is suffering, and who's observing it. You're not going to try and change or transform suffering. What are you going to transform it into? Do you know better? You're going to transform it into peace? Are you fully at peace? If you were, you wouldn't be trying to change anything. Because trying to change something means you're in resistance to what it is. And now you're trying to change it with a resistant mindset. What are you going to get? What resists persists. You're going to get more of what you're vibrating at. Resistance, getting rid of. What you're going to get is more to get rid of. You'll never get rid of all of it. It's why there's no cure for cancer. Why? Because cancer is self-induced. It's self-produced. It's the cells turning in on itself. It's created, all cancer is created by negative thought that people have about themselves. Lack of love, lack of unworthiness, the acidity, the toxicity that builds up in their cellular projection because of self-hatred. That's what cancer is. It's some form of self-hatred, self-denial, rejection of self, capital S self, self and God. Don't try and get rid of suffering. You can't. When has a human being ever come up with a solution that didn't create another problem? When has anyone created a cure that in and of itself didn't create another problem or another disease? Take an aspirin, creates too much whatever, acidity. You take a whatever, and it creates some sort of next, you take this for that, and before you know it, you've got next problem. Everything in this world's designed to kill us. Why? When you finally get rid of your fantasies about what the world is for and the angelic realm and the spiritual realm and the hall of records and the akashic records and the mumbo jumbo spiritual blah 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 and kundalini and colors and auras and all that shit, and you realize there's no specialness in spirituality, there's no specialness in any path or any direction, when it's all pure awareness or nothing at all, then you're ready for transcendence. When you awake to self, in your present moment awareness, with no thought, there's no suffering. What is the end of suffering? A peaceful mind. What's a peaceful mind? A mind that is not thinking, a mind that is present in the all-pervading presence in which we abide, dreaming we're somewhere else. We've never left. It's not all of a sudden you become aware of God. You're always in God. You're always in that essence. It's only when you silence the thoughts, turn inward, Silent stillness, gratitude, forgiveness. The awareness returns. You're not acquiring awareness. You're not raising your awareness. You're just returning to it. And when you return to awareness, where's suffering? Suffering is a condition. Awareness is not a condition. Awareness is what you are. It's not even a state. It's not even a state of being. Awareness is pure being. Awareness is what we are. God is awareness. The extension of God is pure awareness. We are, therefore, pure awareness. So I'm trying to control suffering. I'm trying to control the world. It's playing out. It's scripted. It's already scripted. It's already over. Linear time seems to be progressing, but it's not true. We but watch a dream from the end point, looking back on it as if it's real. When you realize it isn't, you laugh at the activities of the dream. You realize your dreaming mind is lost in translation. And it became afraid. It became vengeful because it became afraid. Now you're no longer afraid. You realize it's over. You haven't left the kingdom. You are the kingdom in which God abides. You abide in God. Stop trying to get rid of suffering. How do you get rid of something you've imagined? You just stop thinking about it. Imagine a yellow giraffe right now. How do you get rid of the yellow giraffe? You think of a blue sky. Where's the yellow giraffe? It's gone until you think about it. Simply let the world suffering be. Those that need to suffer will suffer. Who are you to decide whether people should suffer or not? You needed to suffer to get to where you are. Let them go through what they need to go through. Do you know better than God? Realize what is for our highest good. What was for your highest good? If you hadn't gone through the dark night of the soul over and over again, fifth level, repeat, 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 you wouldn't have awoken to self. You wouldn't be here. You wouldn't be listening to me. You'd be listening to some Guruji, whatever, clasping hands, smiling, speaking in soft tones, holding hands, staring in each other's eyes, singing Kumba fucking ya, because you would need the spiritual mumbo jumbo bullshit to make yourself feel better. This isn't this. This is direct awake to self. This is a wake the fuck up session. This is the rude awakening because the gentle path hasn't helped you. This isn't how do I become spiritually superior, spiritually sexy. This is be thyself knowingly, Holy Son of God. Investigate what suffers. It's a virus. It's a parasite. It consumes itself. Investigate its source. It has none. Explore it at the level of your current level of understanding. Levels are illusions, but wherever you think you are, explore it through your body mind. What suffers? Have you got a pain? Is pain suffering, or is the resistance to the pain suffering? Ah, is the pain suffering? Pain is pain. It's when you resist the pain that you suffer. Pain's there for a reason. It's telling you something's wrong. When you face it head on, when you look at what suffers and you try and find its source and it isn't there, it has no choice but to dissolve. Because something ego, pain, suffering, so ego, pain, suffering, same thing, cannot stand as the light of awareness, the light of clarity. When you bring clarity to an illusion, when you bring light to a dark room, what happens to the dark room? It gets filled with light. It dissolves out of your awareness. You are awareness. And in awareness, silence, stillness, light, there can be no darkness. There can be no suffering. There can be no pain. The condition of the dreaming mind, the characters don't just all of a sudden disappear. They still play out their scripted role. You no longer suffer the suffering of others. That empathy drops, the compassion rises above the battlefield. Empathy in the battlefield, feeling what everybody else feels, compassion above the battlefield. This isn't real. What is true is the essence. What appears as people, places, things, and events, the universe. What appears isn't true. The essence, energy of all of it, which is individual, singularity, the self, the Christ, the extension of God, that's real. And get rid of suffering. Get rid of the idea that you need to get rid of anything. Be yourself knowingly. Hope it gives you clarity. Next question. Dear Lou, thanks for the talks. Thank you for saying thank you. Lou, how do I cultivate a deeper state of mental awareness while I have everyday challenges and bills to pay? Surely the bills to pay are part of your everyday challenges. Okay. Thanks for the question, but it's preloaded. So I want you to be aware that you've misinterpreted self and your understanding has been slightly skewed, or your choice of words is confusing you, or you're confused and hence your state of words. But again, thank you for the question. It's a beautiful direction, and you're closer than close. You cannot cultivate a deeper state of mental awareness. Mental means brain, physical, body, mind activity. Awareness isn't a deep state of mind. Mind, little m mind, dreaming mind. Awareness is not a deep state of dreaming mind. The infinite cannot know the finite. The finite cannot access the infinite. The infinite is aware part of itself is dreaming of the finite, but it's just a dream. It's not real. So it doesn't take it that seriously. You cannot cultivate what you already are. You cannot grow what you already are. You cannot become what you already are. You can't access what you already are. You're simply remembering. And to remember means to know. You've known it before. To remember is to be a member again of something you've always been a member of. To remember, to know again. And that's it. You're just remembering. You are pure awareness. Awareness is really, think about this, awareness. Think about it going completely still right now and expand. Not a single thought, not aware of object subjects, because that's conscious. Not conscious of object subject, just pure awareness, pure expansion. The spaciousness of silent stillness, the spaciousness of unconditional love, the ever extension thereof, ever extending thereof. Awareness is really pure mind, capital M mind at rest. So the mind of the Son of God, capital M mind, mind, spirit. Awareness is mind at rest, mind at peace with self. And as it extends, that awareness flows. And while it's flowing through the awareness you are appearing as a body mind, that awareness is experienced, concession, as pure joy. The extension of peace and love is joy, the joyous extension of being, the infinite lightness of being. You're not cultivating, you're just remembering. You're remembering you aren't. And so when you extend that joyous peace, you are extending your source energy, the mind, capital M, capital I, capital N, capital D, big word, mind of God, pure, primordial source energy. Can't become aware of awareness. You simply remember that we as one indivisible self have always been and always are as one pure awareness. Aware of what? Aware of itself. What is its essential nature? Unconditional love, peace, and joy. It's our primordial essence, energy, our primordial nature. Pure awareness. Aware of what? Love as itself. Energy. Light, ever extending. How do you achieve that? Can't cultivate it. Can't learn it. You can't mantra it. You can't meditate yourself into it. You can't kundalini yourself into it. You can't Akashic record yourself into it. You can't tantric sex yourself into it. You simply remember. You abide. Abide. You rest in awareness. What is resting in awareness? Just returning to it, which is rest in God. You abide. Silent stillness. Do that as often as you can. Tithe a little bit of your timing in the morning, a little bit lunchtime, a little bit in the evening, until it becomes a natural concession practice. Awareness isn't a practice. It's just all pervading. Awareness is meditation. Meditation is awareness. All pervading presence, present moment awareness. Same words to describe God. Same thing. Same essence energy. Just return there as often as you can. Gratitude. And I've been asked before, why gratitude? Does God need gratitude? No, God doesn't need gratitude. God wants you to be grateful. Why? Because gratitude begets more to be grateful for, and that creates a joyous state of being, a joyous presence. So abide as often as you can. Sink into your heart. Rest. Rest in God. Rest in silent stillness. Rest. Put your mind to rest. No thought. No thanks. No thanks. Rest. Ask to be sure. Ask to remember. I can see peace in this instead of this. I can know self instead of that. I can knowingly be the extension of love. And when you rest in God, He does the rest. That's it. Remember, rest in God and He does the rest. I need do nothing but rest in peace, rest in God, abide, silent stillness, gratitude, forgiveness, abide. And He does the rest. Okay. Next question. Jilu. Perfect timing, this one. How can I access the awareness of awareness so that I can understand and thus become more conscious of self and others? So there's three layers to this question. You want to access the awareness you are, but then you step down, you recede. You want to understand and thus become more conscious of self and others. You're doing what we all do at some stage in our awakening sequence, and you're getting stuck in level confusion. Consciousness, realm of the dreaming mind. Awareness, Christ's mind, the extension of God's mind. So consciousness cannot know awareness. Awareness is aware part of itself, dreams. That's it. Doesn't know the content of dream. God doesn't know the content of your dream. God doesn't know you and I as beings exist. He knows us as pure energy, the sun, temporarily had a glitch and dreamt of nothing. Okay. God cannot know the content of the dream. The infinite cannot know the finite. So as awareness, you won't need to understand anything. What is a need for understanding? The egoic consciousness. What is it we want to understand? We want to understand science, mathematics, music, architecture, art. We want to understand how things are made up. What's right, what's wrong, what's good, what's bad, what's valued, what's not, what's valuable, what's not. That's what we want to understand. What's good, what's famous, what's popular, what do we need to do to get? That's what the mind wants, the dreaming mind wants to understand. Why does it want to understand that if it knows it's dreaming? Well, part of it's forgotten, so it's hidden it as a secret dream. And so it preoccupies its fractured parts, searching for meaning and understanding where none can be found. Because what are you trying to understand but illusionary constructs of a dreaming mind? And so how many people beat themselves up because I'm not clever enough and I don't understand the Course in Miracles or Vita Vedanta, it's too difficult. You don't need to understand anything. There's absolutely fuck all to understand. Fuck all. Nothing. Nothing to understand. Be present. Be thyself authentically. And if you rest long enough, you'll be thyself knowingly. Nothing to understand. Consciousness, dream consciousness, is unconscious of itself as a part of that which is forever aware. If it became conscious of itself as that which is always aware, it would immediately awaken to self and the unconsciousness would be gone. When you wake up in the morning, you're no longer in dream state. Well, some of you drag yourselves around for the next couple of hours, mumbling and grumpy gits in the morning. Get over yourselves. But eventually, midday, you've forgotten your dream because now you're aware. You're no longer conscious, dream conscious, subconscious. The self, of course, is aware of what is conscious, part of itself dreaming, but it's fully aware of self as the awareness itself. How do you access awareness? You rest in God. It's instant. It's closer than close. You remember the journey from the brain, the mind, brain and the mind, to the heart could be the longest journey in the universe. Take you lifetimes to achieve. Yet it's closer than close. It's just step inwards. But you want to go out on an adventure. You want to go searching for fantasy and love and fame and notoriety. But there's no peace in all that shit. The more the adventure, the more shit comes in. That's the challenge. The more you push, the more driven you are, the more ambitious, determined, the more shit. But we love those stories. Look how determined you are. He climbed Mount Everest with one arm. Wow, look at that. He traveled across the ocean in a tiny little boat. First woman to do it. Who gives a fuck? No one cares. She cares. Nobody gives a fuck. Oh, we admire her. She swam across the fucking Atlantic Ocean. Who gives a shit? The ego does. But at the same time, it doesn't. Who wants that? Who wants the fame, the notoriety, the attention? Ego. What does spirit want? The peace of God, to know itself as the peace of God. You got to burn all that shit out. Hey, while you still desire it, play it, go for it. If you still want it, please, if you have an urge, go. Shag, marry, kill until you realize, what the fuck was I doing? What was all that for? Eventually, when it's burnt out, you'll want to rest. And it's in resting in God that the transcendence comes. We cannot know ourself apart from self. The self knows itself as itself. It cannot know itself apart from itself because there's no apart. There's no parts of. The self is one indivisible self, one whole. We cannot stand apart from ourselves to know ourselves because we cannot know ourselves objectively. There's no subject object in self. What is that? That's again the misappropriation of miracle impulse. You want to know self as some form of people, places, things, and events. I am accessing awareness. Look, I evolved that. The true initiate that is dedicated to seek ye first the kingdom of heaven has no desire to be known or have other people notice them. If you notice someone putting pictures of themselves meditating, that's spiritual ghosting. That's spiritual bullshit. You would show people you meditate. What the fuck are you trying to do? Oh, look how spiritual I am. You're an idiot. Idiot, identity 10. That's an idiot. ID 10. You feel insulted? I don't give a fuck. If you're feeling insulted, you're supposed to. It's supposed to trigger you. Practice forgiveness. There's no subject-object relationship in becoming aware of being aware. It's not you become aware. You are awareness. Can't achieve it. Categories. Okay. We can't become aware. We are awareness. What is awareness aware of? Itself as awareness is pure. And awareness is another word for love. Peace, joy, like God. The Tao that can be named or described is not the eternal Tao. If I could explain awareness, at best a concession. The moment we try and become aware of being aware, we're trying. We become trapped in trying, trapped in a technique, trapped in a conceptual theory that some Guruji told you and, of course, charged you for it. It's free. Awareness is free. No one can teach it to you. You can desire it because it's natural for you to return to it, to remember it. That's why you desire it. But while you still desire for anything else, while you still desire for fame and fortune in this world, while you still have an objection or a purpose in this world, you want to build something, create something, yeah. You may be gradually progressing in your awareness of being aware, but it's secondary, and therefore you'll never remember it fully. Remember what you are fully. And try and make sense of awareness with your five senses, because your five senses are nonsensical. Spirit doesn't sense anything. Spirit is. What senses is the construct of your dreaming mind to try and make sense of itself, which in itself has no sense. There's no sense, and there's definitely no sensibility to consciousness, awareness. There's nothing I can say about it. If I was to return fully to awareness right now, I wouldn't be able to speak. In actual fact, I wouldn't be here. I can try and recall my holy instant, there's no word for it. Don't try and return to it. Just be it. Be present. Be still. Be silent. Be grateful. Abide. Ask to remember. And you will be shown. Don't try. You're already that. Don't take a step back. You're already there. Hope that gives you clarity. Thank you for the question. And just keep him coming. Just keep him coming. Thank you. Thanks for joining me.